to chime in and tell us, have you ever been the type to constantly tweak your website's words or struggle to write that Instagram caption or even put off writing an entire page of your website because you didn't quite know what to say? Is that anyone? Totally get it. What about putting pen to paper to reflect the heart of your brand? Like writing an about page that doesn't feel completely narcissistic or totally lame? If that's you, you're in the right place. Okay, tell me this. If you get through that writing process, have you ever written something that you're proud of? And I want you to know it's okay to think yes here. I'm definitely convinced that anyone can learn to write good copy for their business. You just need to know a few tips and tricks of the trade. Okay, but I have to ask the kicker question, because today is all about how much that unclear messaging may be costing you. Do your product descriptions, sales pages, and customer response templates convert to dollars as much as you want them to? And most importantly, do you feel like you're able to maintain your integrity and your honesty in the process? That's the tough question. Well, if you identify with any of these scenarios, you are in the right place. From having a business that's a few years old to maybe a new business or product idea that's still just a twinkle in your mind's eye, you're exactly who we want to talk to today. Maybe you want an engaged email list, or maybe you actually want to start an email list, or you're ready to create that passive stream that makes money while you sleep, or write that blog post that's sitting in drafts and you're just afraid to hit publish on. Today is going to be an actionable training just for you. So if we're having honesty hour, you know this. Your business or your blog can't make money without clear messaging. Otherwise, you just have, as we say, an expensive hobby, which is totally fine unless you're trying to support your family, which is what I'm trying to do. There's just too much noise out there and too much competition in our 24/7 media landscape for a messy message to stand out. And you know, deep down in your creative, entrepreneurial spirit, that clear and succinct messaging on your website, in your captions, and in any words that you use to communicate your brand with, those are the keys to a profitable business. And I totally get it. I empathize with you. I want you to know it's okay if you haven't ever prioritized your copy and your messaging before. Maybe this is you. Anybody? You're just scarred by something that happened in 10th grade English, or the grammar police seem always out to get you, something like that. What about this? Maybe this feels more like you. You're slammed. The solo and solopreneur life is so real, and it's hard. You're all of the departments rolled into one, and taking the time to research words that convert to sales just isn't top of mind. Maybe this is you. You're a wordy person, and being concise is hard. You think it's easier to write 5 paragraphs about something than say the same thing in like 1 sentence. Anybody? Or you're the exact opposite, and getting started is the hard part. But finally, here is my favorite. Most of us, at least as creatives, can relate to this. We just totally feel like the minute we start talking about sales and money that we sound like a used car salesman or just like an infomercial guy. So you're here today because you're sick of trying to figure out all those hacks. You could literally have a full-time job listening to all the podcasts, reading everything that hits your inbox, just trying to stay up on the latest and greatest. Or maybe you're here because you want to finally write with confidence when you respond to inquiries or send out those customer brochures. Maybe you just want to create a website and copy that converts so you can have more time freed up to spend with your family and let your website be that 24/7 salesperson. So I'm a webinar junkie, and one of my favorite, or my pet peeves, is not having like actual tangible steps to put in place after an hour's time. So today you're going to be able to walk away immediately knowing the easiest way to change your website today to start making more sales, the easy, exact method to sell without saying a word, how to trim up your writing, and the copywriting secrets to making cash. All of these have worked for creatives like you. Jenny's one of my students, and in starting her new company, applying these tips that you're going to learn allowed Jenny to rewrite her whole website for the good portion code so she could finally launch her company. Laura, another client and student of mine, used these tips to write and load 4 new blog posts after just one of our sessions, and she's now able to tell ideal brides how she can help them in a loving and service-driven way. Finally, another one of my clients named Jenna, we're working on updating all her sales page copy and email sequences for her upcoming course launches. So being able to apply these tools and tricks no matter where you are in your business will be helpful today. Also, as Leslie said, stay till the end because I have an invitation for a brand new club, and Honeybook and I have details on how to grab an exclusive VIP bonus for those of you who stick around to the end. Okay, but who's on the other side of your screen talking? My name is Ashlyn, and this is how you can get in touch with me, but I want to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm a writer and calligrapher, and my nails look pretty on fleek in that picture, but I'll be honest, they're always covered in the black ink and look pretty shabby. And it's because I run a small business called Ashlyn Writes, and I come alongside creatives, and I help them tell their story with words, whether it's invitation suites, calligraphed envelopes, or copy to fill in buckets of their brand. I string words and I sling ink. I'm married to my college sweetheart, and I'm a mama bear to 2 German Shepherd puppies. God's good, life is sweet these days, but I want to share with you the messy story too. So I graduated, as Leslie said, with a degree in journalism, mass communications, and went straight to work in the PR industry. My first job was in marketing consulting, and then I got my dream job at a PR agency working on top client accounts like Delta Airlines. That is not my engagement ring. That is from a Tiffany & Company private salon event on Fifth Avenue in New York for Delta Million Milers. Just everything was glitzy and glam, and I absolutely loved it. But I worked all the time, 24/7. So when a celebrity chef that is local to where I live asked me to come alongside him and be his publicist, I lunged at the opportunity to get out of where I was. He said that I would be able to work a little less, but unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case. So roll that up into somebody that is bent towards chasing perfection and struggled with generalized anxiety and depression. And in 2015, all of this stress and rat race manifested into an eating disorder, which is no good when you're a publicist for a celebrity chef. So I was partially hospitalized and put on medical leave about 3 months into marriage, and it was awful. I hated therapy. I hated the clinic. I wasn't allowed to do much besides really short walks, and was also pulled away from my job with leave of absence. So this was a time of forced rest. And through that, it spurred conversations with my husband and in quiet times. And I looked at Wes one day and I said something that's become my mantra. I said, Wes, what's it going to look like if I actually start living to make what matters happen? If I stop putting work before everything else and work from a place of rest and not hustle. So I quit my job way sooner than I thought in this past February, and I started Ashlyn Writes. And I wanted to show you exactly what that looked like. With the background in marketing, I was able to pretty quickly crack a code on profitability. I did it once and realized that it was a process that could be repeated. So I did that and I never looked back. I realized that there is a system to marketing writing for businesses, and it's the very same one that I teach to my students now. The secret is in simplification and marketing from a place of rest and not hustle so you can make money online and quit the rat race. This is pretty much an exact representation of what happened. I had started in December. By February, I'd invested $4,000 to attend my first creative conference. It's a Loom retreat in Austin. That was the scariest investment I'd ever made because I didn't have a full stream of client work yet. But by April, I'd made that back and then some, and by June, I'd had my most profitable month to date. But enough about me. Today, I want to teach you what I found. Are you ready? Okay, I hope you have your workbook out and that cup of coffee, and let's jump in. So here's a screen that you can screenshot right now. These are the things that we're going to work through today in the training. Let's jump right in. Okay, have you ever wondered why so many things like phrases come in threes? You have duck, duck, goose, 3-ring circus, 3 sheets to the wind, 3 little kittens, of the people, by the people, for the people. I could go on and on. Have you ever wondered why that is? Well, about the turn of the century, when advertising and marketing became its own entity and field of study, psychologists realized that children learned things best when they were in threes. It's just naturally simple, memorable, and had a sticky factor. So earlier today, I told you that you're going to be able to do one thing on your homepage today, and this is it. I want you to take one paragraph chunk of information and present that same information in a system of threes. I'm a show and tell girl. I need to see examples and actually get my hands dirty to see things. So let's jump in and look at some examples. Over here on the left, this is from Jamie with Spruce Road. She does she's a designer, and she does an incredible job conveying the information that she offers to creatives visiting her website in this little chunk. Now, visually, about 90% of information that we absorb visually, and so it's only 10% that are reserved for words to communicate. So she does a great job of this with icons, but look at how brief her copy is under it. She just cuts to the chase, and she could have written a whole paragraph to describe that, but she doesn't. Over on the right-hand side of your screen are two examples of some wedding industry clients that I've worked with, and we took their client processes and just took all that information and boiled it down to 3 main buckets of information. Now, if you work in the wedding industry at all, you know that the client process is so much more than a simplified 3-step deal, but this gives just enough information that a customer that's interested can ping you for more information. I'm also going to go ahead and break your heart right here, right off the bat. I want you to really consider getting rid of the 4th module that you have if you have like more than 3 packages. If you're offering 4 or even 5, maybe see if you can reshuffle things around, like have something as an add-on or an upsell, or maybe it's better suited as a shop product. The thing is, you're competing against yourself when you have an unclear message. So if someone hops over to your website and sees this whole laundry list of different options that they could have, it's really kind of hard to digest. Have you ever been on a website and you get so confused sometimes that you just click off and go to a competitor's website? I don't want that to happen for you in your business. So really see if you can boil things down to the big 3 and take any information that you would offer in the 4th and slide it somewhere else. So I want you to chime in, and like I said, I can't see your questions, but Leslie can, and let us know what you think about this. Is this something that you could put in your own business? And Leslie, I don't know if you would able.
Yeah, I can see the question.
Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. Okay. Okay, well, we'll jump into the next one. So this is for my people out there that feel like they're entirely too wordy, because I am one of you. In this step, I'm going to show you a strategy that I use to be more concise. So there is a quote out there that I love as a writer. It's called "Kill Your Darlings," and nothing hurts more, because sometimes I feel like, but every word I write is important, but that's not always the case. I can already tell you there's like 95% chance you're saying entirely too much on your website. We have short attention spans, and it can be really hard to cut through the clutter. On Donald Miller's podcast, he has a great strategy called the grunt test, and I want to tell you a little bit about that and use an example from a former client, Laura Casey. So the grunt test, essentially, if you can go to a website, not even scroll down, can you say what that person does and then tell you how to buy from them just by looking at the front page. Now, Laura's website does an incredible job of this. You don't even scroll down and you understand how to buy. There's a shop button very clear up at the top, a link to her book very clear also up at the top, and it cuts right to the chase of who she is. So say everything you can with as few words as possible and really keep it simple. So what are some tools that can help you do that? Here are 2 of my favorites. HemingwayApp.com is a great website. Essentially, you can just copy, paste, and dump your text in a field on the website, and it'll point out some ways that you can shorten your wording to make it more concise. One of my favorite examples is the word utilize. Like, why on earth are you going to say utilize? Just say use. Like, it's half the length, and sometimes we feel like, I don't know, maybe smarter using bigger words or more sentences, but especially in web writing, you really got to boil it down to the most important things. If anybody's like ultra nerdy like me, writeonpar.com kind of gamifies the experience of being a concise writer, so that might be a fun 5-minute work break for you one day. Bottom line though, y'all, if you think that it's too long, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you it probably already is. So here's an opportunity for you to chime in that questions box again, and Leslie can let me know what you say. Think about a long form piece of information on the internet, like a long or a long, I don't know, like a long news article. How many seconds do you think that we spend on a long form piece of information on the web reading it? And I'll say maybe let me know some of the
Yeah.
answers.
Hey, Ashlyn, what are those websites again?
Yeah, I can actually just hop back to that screen. If you, I'm a big screenshotter. If you want to write on par.com and hemingwayapp.com.
Perfect. And then you mentioned a test. Justine Marshek asked the what test?
Yeah, the very appropriately and intelligently named grunt, as in like grunt, like, oh, and I didn't say why. It should be so easy to understand that a caveman can grunt it. So that's why it's named what it is. Does that help?
Yes. Let's see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to hear what are some guesses on how long we take to read websites? The answer might surprise you.
Got there's 5 seconds, 6 seconds,
Oh, these are pretty good, actually.
30 seconds, and then I got,
Okay.
yeah, 2 to 3 minutes on a long form article.
Okay. We actually, on a long form article, spend 15 seconds. So if that's how long someone's spending on a long chunk of text, like think about maybe your home page or your services page. You really don't have long at all to jump into it. Okay, I'm going to keep trucking along so we stay on task here. If you're multitasking, come on back because I want to tell you how to sell without talking, which is probably something everybody's interested in. This is my exact process for grabbing a testimonial. So the thing I love about testimonials is I welcome any opportunity to not talk about how great I am and let somebody else do it for me because it just feels so less awkward. If you want to supersize, though, your testimonial grabbing, I have 3 things that you should fold into every testimonial. Those are the problem, the solution, and the resolution. And what I mean here is the problem is what situation your client was in before you. The solution is you and your services. And the resolution is what happened after. Like tangibly, what did that look like for this person? So here's an example from a client of mine. She gave me this testimonial, and it was so great that I didn't have to ask her for updates at all. And I'm going to interject real quick here. If you ever get a testimonial back that would be more clear, if you could beef it up by adding maybe the exact product service name into that testimonial, or if you could say, this is so great, do you mind giving me a few numbers that tell exactly what happened after we worked together? You're absolutely allowed to edit and work with someone on a testimonial to get it in a place where you can really use it on your website. But I didn't work with this one at all. Sarah just knocked it out of the park. You can see that she cites the problem. In the 3rd paragraph, our sales funnels were struggling. She talks about you're an answer to prayer. We worked with you. And then she says the result. Our sales are crazy up over the past 2 weeks. So she just very cuts to the chase, and I appreciated that so much. So how do you actually grab these testimonials? Here's another page for you to screenshot. This is my testimonial gathering methods. First of all, I would encourage you to get in habit of screenshotting social media posts. Maybe it's an Instagram comment from a former bride or client or a kind post on Facebook. That's a testimonial, and you're definitely allowed to use that. Another way that you should always be using is follow-up surveys. Honeybook is a great way to send out questionnaires to former clients and current clients. I also like a website called typeform.com where you can create free surveys and brand them and send those off to people. But when you're crafting those surveys, the question is really important. So 3rd, you're going to see ask the right question. My #1 go-to question, I tell people, ask what would you tell your best friend about working with me, because that is the way that I've found I can get the most candid response that isn't contrived or it just sounds natural. It rolls off their tongue. So I would definitely swipe that from me. That's a good go-to. Finally, I want you to file like a boss. Like you take these and put them in a system, whatever it is for you. Here's a couple of apps I really like that make sense for you. And I want to show you what the inside of my system looks like. I use Google Docs for this and Evernote. And so I have a Google Doc that's just called Client Testimonials. And I have a name, the name of the file or service, and then anytime someone says something, I ask them if it would be okay if I use that, thank them profusely, and just slap it up there. And I also do the same thing in Evernote. So I would encourage you to start something like that if you don't have one, and let me know how that goes. the biggest tip, y'all, about testimonials, answer the but of the question. I want you to lower the risk and honestly eliminate the risk altogether if you can. Enable someone to look to see what's on the line if that problem isn't fixed for them, and then also paint a picture of what they want their tomorrow to look like once this problem is no longer in their life anymore. So I want you to start looking for and gathering testimonials on those points. So go ahead and let us know in that box. Do you currently gather testimonials? Are they too long? That's another thing. Sometimes people have these great long testimonials that maybe that would serve you better on your website if you pull the 2 best sentences out of it that are really convicting and you use those. Also, go ahead and put that organization system in place today.
Ashlyn, really quick, what's that survey website that you mentioned?
Yes, it is Typeform, Type form. Sorry, I know my accent can be a challenge, but I love that website. It's a great way to, if you're ever considering sending out a client survey or maybe just starting your business and trying to figure out what things people want, I used it then and found great success with it. And it's totally 100% free, which is always a good thing.
That's great. Yeah, it seems like we've got a few people that are doing testimonials now, which is awesome. And then Angel had a quick question about explaining the answering the but in a little more detail.
What was Angela's question about that?
Answering the but part of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the but would be think about when you go to buy something. Like, let's say you pull this out of the top of my head. Say you're going to buy some jeans. Like, your biggest question is, do I look good in them? And so you can alleviate that by going in the dressing room and trying them on, right? So figure out the biggest the thing that would come against someone hiring you the most. Maybe it's your cost. Maybe it's they don't know if they have the time to dedicate to what you're doing. Maybe they aren't sure if they really need this. They feel like they can get by without it. Like, figure out the biggest but thing that's gonna, like, when you're standing in the checkout line and you almost grab it and you're like, no, and you put it back up. Like, what is it that's making her put what you're offering back on the shelf? And speak directly to that in your testimonials. Like, grab the testimonials of other people telling how they got over that and why they're glad they did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like the anticipating the objection and answering it through your testimonial.
Okay.
Amazing.
And by the way, I just saw you pinged me a question too. There's a family, I'm not sure the name, but a family photographer who's wondering about packaging. I want to. That's a great question, and I'll answer that at the end. I just want that person to know I see it. Okay. So let's talk about how to make a homepage that converts. 2 things here. First, I always say that having a website is like throwing a party. You want your website to feel like your home and your house. But when someone's coming over, you want them to go where you want them to go, right? Like, you don't want them meandering towards the kitchen when everybody's in the living room, or you don't want them trying to find the guest bathroom and they end up in the laundry room. Like, you need to direct them and steer them, right? Secondly, story and storytelling, those are marketing buzzwords right now. And yes, you need to tell a story, but for a story to sell, you have to realize that it's never about you. So those are the 2 biggest mistakes that I see creatives make on their websites. They get story wrong, and they give way too many options of different rooms to walk into. So how can you fix that today on your homepage? Well, here is a great example from another one of my clients and students, Meg, and she does a good job. So I pulled hers up, but first of all, the 4 things, the first one, I want you to pass that grunt test. I want you to, before the fold of the page, include the big information. Who you are, what you do, and my goodness, how can we give you money? Like, so many people put off that last thing, but make sure you make it very clear how to start working with you today. The term, I know that can be confusing, fold of the page, think about it, it's a journalism term. Think about a newspaper. Before you open it up, before the fold, all the pertinent information is on that main page, like the biggest headlines of the day, the weather, the sections that you can find within the newspaper. So think of your website that way. Okay, secondly is making your contact information very prominent. Honeybook, I love, gives the opportunity for you to embed a form, which is so great, and it's a very easy way to funnel to funnel client information into my inbox. But I would also encourage you to give an email address somewhere on that contact page. And I tell you this because after years of working as a publicist, sometimes I just needed to get someone's information really quickly. As a journalist, I just needed a source for a story. And if I couldn't figure out how to get in touch with you quickly, let me tell you, I just moved on to the next person on my list. So I would encourage you to also have your email there, but maybe mention for people interested in doing work with you, shift them towards using that form that you've embedded on your website. Thirdly, so we have been internet trained. I don't know if you've realized, but the top right-hand corner of your screen and on any website is where it's like a hub. All the important information is there. Like you can probably look up at the top right corner of whatever screens you have open now, and you can see there's some really important information there. So how can you use that to better your business? I want you to place your biggest moneymaker call to action in that upper right-hand corner. Maybe it is book consult or schedule a call or shop today, whatever it is, put that in your top right-hand corner. Some marketing experts would even encourage you to use a different color, make it a little more eye-catching. Also, buttons that look like buttons tend to work. Psychologically, we like to click on things that look like they're tactile. So those are some options for you as well to consider. Finally, I want you to add that social proof. So we just talked all about testimonials. Some other ways to do this are adding numbers. Maybe you can say, join 2,000 other email subscribers or join 50 other, clients this year. Whatever it is, we like numbers, we like tribes as people, and so that can be something that can behoove your business. Another thing is to add mastheads. Now, a masthead is a blog or a business's logo. Think about Vogue. Like, we all know what the Vogue text looks like when we see that magazine in a store. So if you have had the opportunity to be featured on a blog or in a magazine, maybe consider pulling a few of those and putting them on your main page. That is a big trustworthiness adder. I'm just going to make up words as I go here. That's going to be something that people see, and immediately they associate you with a higher caliber of business. So those are some things that you can do today. So go ahead also and chime in and let us know, maybe out of a scale of 1 to 10, where does your homepage stand right now? Do you have any of these implemented, or there's some things that you've learned that you can do? And Leslie might be able to see these better.
There's a 2, and
there's so much you can do then. You might have a full afternoon ahead of you.
yeah, these are amazing. Super actionable tips.
Yay!
5, a 1 to 2, 5 out of 10, 2 out of 10. Yeah, this is awesome. This is so great.
Okay, and I do see one question that you sent, and y'all your questions are great. Keep them coming. Leslie is text messaging them over my way, and I want to get to all of them. But one that kind of goes into this category, highlighting testimonials as a part of your website or just a page. To be honest, I find I sprinkle them in. I would put testimonials on your sales page, most certainly. I would put them on, you can have a press page. That would be, I don't think that's a bad thing to have, but just know that that page doesn't get a lot of traffic. So I wouldn't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket, and I would sprinkle them in on your services page and your about page, because those are two pages that in Google Analytics, I'm going to guess those are some of your most visited website pages. So hack that and sprinkle some testimonials in there. But no, it's okay if you have them in another section too. Okay, I'm going to keep trucking along here so we can get through. So when I worked in PR, we had something called billing time, which basically meant you line item any marketing task you would do for a client. One area where we spent a lot of time was researching and fact-finding. So what do I mean? When I say this, I'm going to reference a quote from one of my favorite marketers. I'm sure there's some Amy Porterfield fans in the house. She said, if you run a business, become a student of copywriting. And how else do you become a student of something besides really studying it and researching? So I'm going to show you my step-by-step method in these screens right here. The one on the left is a Gmail folder that I have in my inbox, and it is literally called Swipe File. Anytime I get an email that I like, whether it's from, Lululemon and their subject line was so funny that it made me laugh and open it, that goes in the Swipe File. Here's an example. It was an out of office from Dear Sweetheart Events, Kat Schmoyer. She also does Creative at Heart that I loved, and so I pulled that into my Swipe File. This is just a way for me to keep a running list of copy that works on me. So if these are things that I liked, then I'm going to guess somebody out there likes it too. So go ahead and start that. Another thing you can do is in the middle screen on the iPad, you'll see my copy bank. This is something I started in the Evernote app. And whenever I am on the go, reading a book, or listening to a podcast or a sermon, and I hear a word or read a word or phrase that I love and completely forgot about, it goes in the copy bank. I do this because I have a tendency to get really stuck on words. Like, I found myself using the word curate in copy that I was drafting for clients so much that I was like, oh, I need a new word. So this is why I have a copy bank, so I can get out of that. Finally, you'll see I use Dropbox, and whenever I'm on a website and they have, downloads and content upgrades, like, there's so many great free resources. I keep all those, and I've made a little library for myself. And this is a great way that I can look back at things over time and keep myself educated. Bottom line here, though, y'all, make imperfect progress. Like, digital filing is never going to be so clean and pristine and beautiful, but if you just start and kind of make a dent in it, I think you'll start seeing a difference in the own way that you write for your brand. Okay, so let's keep moving on. I want to get really specific on this one. I want you to start speaking to the deep-seated problems that your clients have. We don't buy things to have more stuff, y'all. Like, we have enough stuff, but we continue to buy because we are looking to fill emotions. Now, right now, in the marketing world, and there's not a problem with it, there's a lot of ideal client guides that are telling you to find these specific, concrete facts about your dream client, which is, it's not bad to create an avatar, but these are real people. And the bottom line is to find the things that, like, it won't convert you to buy from me if I just tell you everything that you already know about yourself, right? So what actually works is when you use your words to describe her current situation without the things that she needs to come to you for. Like, why is it a problem that this is in her life right now? I'll give you a hint. Time and money are two things that everybody pretty much wants more of. So speak to those kind of things. Like, what does it feel like to be running out of time and not able to do this on your own? Or what does it feel like to not be able to afford XYZ that you could achieve by working with someone else? Here's another little swipeable checklist for you. The first thing is using her words to talk back to her. Anytime you get an email and someone is describing to you their problem, take those words and speak them right back to her. That shows her that you are listening and that you understand where she is. Also, write like it's never about you. Chiefly, y'all, on your about page, when I'm drafting about pages for my clients, I don't introduce them until the third, maybe the fourth paragraph. Even when we read about pages, we're reading them to see what we can get from it and to see if that person is a fit for us. So be very conscious of that when you're writing. Finally, I've mentioned it before, and I'm going to say it again. Keep painting that visual picture of what life is going to look like at the end of the rainbow. Like, after she's hired you, after she's been through your process, what is life like? So think about that. Would you be able to shift up your copy? Would you be able to write to your client's pain points? Do you know your client's pain points? This is something that a survey might help you with if you don't already know. Okay, and we're going to move on to the last step. This is called circle back. Again, as we've said, there's way too much going on out there in media land. So it's really important to know that single driving why behind what you do. I'm sure many of you know your why, as we say, but are you communicating that? And are you keeping it simple? Okay, so what do I mean? Here's some examples for you to mull on and think about. So Walt Disney, when he was writing the mission statement for his brand back decades ago, it was make people happy. Think about how integral that is to their business, that here, I mean, I don't even know how many decades it's got, maybe what, 70-something, 80 years old? No matter when that company opens a theme park, launches a film, it all comes back to this message for them, which is pretty incredible messaging at the end of the day. Another example, no matter what our opinions on Trump, for some reason, this slogan was something that clicked for constituents. I had a journalism professor, and he would always say, write something that you can hang your hat on. And this is a great example of that for me. It was catchy. Two other examples that I'm sure many people in here are familiar with, Emily Lay, everything that she does from her planners to her new playbook launch, it all comes back to simplifying your life as a creative woman. And then finally, Anthropologie, my goodness, anything we get in the mail from them, catalogs, birthday cards, we walk into the store and touch and feel the products, everything is centered on art and artistry. So here's another real life example. My charge for you here is for you to narrow your mission down to some bite-sized words. One of my students who did an incredible job with this was Jenny. No matter what Jenny writes, it circles back to her mission statement. She says it in the bottom here. It's to simplify the hostessing experience for women. So again, we have way too many noises going on these days. To whirl your message into one succinct phrase. Become known for one thing. I'll use myself as a case study because I want you to know this was hard for me too. I was like, when I started my business, I do calligraphy and I write, like what's the connection? Bottom line, I figured out that I share stories with words. So see if you can figure out that one thing and narrow down your message with as few words as possible. So let's review everything you've learned so you can take some action. So you're here because you've decided to nix the sales pitch, right? And you understand that writing 5 paragraphs of copy isn't quite as good as one neat, nice sentence. You have the drive and you just needed the coaching and some tools to get started, and I'm so excited that you made that stand and investment in your business today. I believe that these action steps we've talked about are some things that you're completely capable of and you're equipped to do in your own business. You don't have to be a marketer, a writer, a journalism major, and it's time for you to dominate your industry and build a foundation for a small business that gives you rest over hustle. So all these tips we've talked about, they work. They worked for clients at my PR agency like Delta, Chick-fil-A, Toyota, and they worked for setting up my small business to match my corporate income within 5 months, and they work for creatives like my students and clients now. I'm not special, I just have a system and I use it. So I mentioned the club at the beginning, and I want to introduce you to a step-by-step training that I've created to give you the copywriting keys to having an authentic, honest business that's set up with integrity to convert financially for you. Here is a behind-the-scenes sneak peek into my brand new course that teaches you to fully DIY your copywriting without having to pay those expensive writer fees. As a calligrapher with a small business, I get it. You're stewarding your craft and you don't have time to read all the blogs and hear all the podcasts. So I'm going to give you a shortcut into what I learned after 10 years in media and PR. You should have the conversion tools in hand to not worry about your messaging. And you should be able to walk into your call and be profitable. In this 4-module system, I teach you exactly what marketing and copy is. I know there's somebody out there that thought copywriting was a legal term, and it's okay. I get that all the time. I don't want you to worry anymore that your message is muddled. You shouldn't ever have to copy and paste from a competitor's website just to feel like you're as good as they are. So I'm going to give you the step-by-step way I was taught to write copy. In Module 2, I know that you might be afraid that you don't have all the exact messages it takes to have a profitable small business. So we're going to sit down and write everything from your brand voice guide to your mission statement, your positioning statement, your copy bank, and more. In Module 3, we'll create a sales page that converts. I'm talking inquiries, shop purchases, membership purchases, and more. Your website should work even when you're asleep, so I'm going to teach you how to write a product description that makes things sell. And in Module 4, we'll dive into content and reap the benefits of information you already have. I'll give you swipe files, an editorial calendar template, and we'll write a customized blog recipe for you to use. So you get all of this in Copywriting for Creatives, plus a 57 book, more than 7 checklists and cheat sheets, 15 online training videos, and my exact process for scheduling social media, as well as a members-only section because I want to be on hand to talk to you face-to-face about your words. And through this course, you'll build copy systems so you don't have to hire someone to write about your business for you. In the members area, you'll get the tools that I use, resources, templates, checklists, cheat sheets, workbook pages, and step-by-step training to help you write the key copy buckets to run a creative small business. Also, I'm old-fashioned. I know there's somebody out there like me. I still love pens and paper, and when I write something, it sticks, right? So because of that, I made sure to make this course a step-by-step system where you can work through things on paper. You'll find guides to making an editorial calendar, writing copy, and more in the workbook. I'm also including my social media scheduling fill-up formula. One of the biggest parts for learning how to rest and not hustle is learning to get off my phone and digitally detox, right? Set things up to go on autopilot. So I've recorded an instructional guide to how I batch my writing days, imagery days, and schedule everything to post automatically. This is the biggest, best time saver every month to get my story out there while still being a team of one. I don't have a virtual assistant, and I have no plans to hire one because of systems like this. Then I have an extra special bonus item that I wanted to create for you. I know that hitting publish and trusting that you DIY'd your copy just right is tough. So here's a members-only community of creatives where we can edit and tweak one another's messaging in a safe space. We're all in the same boat, and we can give helpful feedback to each other. It's already been such a blessing to me. I love this group. Here's a really kind comment we had from someone just the other day. It's one of my favorite parts of the course. Finally, I'm going to give you a tool that helps get your message out after you already understand it yourself. So I mentioned I worked in PR and marketing and also as a journalist. I know what story ideas and pitches writers want, and I know how they write, how they want it, and I know how to pitch a story. So I rolled all that into a field guide training to teach you to pitch your blog or your business. I also included the exact email formula that I sent out to blogs, magazines, and editors. So this course opens again in February, and I'd love to have you as a student. Wait, did I just say February? Okay, so technically the fall semester registration closed on August the 12th, but just for HoneyBook listeners today, I'm offering you a way to get in now before rates go up next February. You only have until this Friday at midnight until doors close again until spring semester. Also, I wanted to give you some bonuses if you register before midnight. So if you sign up before midnight tonight, you'll get in on this fast action bonus. This is a tool that really helped get my business in place. When I started my small business, I needed a marketing plan and a business plan, and I Googled till the end of the internet and ended up having to write it myself. I wanted something to keep me on track with quarterly, monthly, and annual goals, as well as a 5-year projection plan and a schedule of how to sell my packages. So I haven't shared this with anyone before, but I'm sharing it with students who sign up before midnight tonight. Also, I wanted to get systems in place that worked quickly for my business, and HoneyBook is one of the biggest things that changed the game for me. I lean on this software to incorporate all my brand messaging to get out to the clients, from email templates and invoices to contracts and pricing guides. And we have a code today to give you 20% off lifetime membership, which is a value of $100. Also, my friends at CoSchedule wanted to give students a month free, and they were so generous to give me a code for you to get access to their social media scheduling platform for free. This is the platform I teach how to use in my own course and in my own business. I'm also giving you a full list of apps, websites, and trainings that I've found online, like the app that I use to make sure the grids on my Instagram account don't clash, the free app I use for project management and for client call scheduling. So let me ask you a question that we've talked about today. Are you finally ready to figure out all your brand's messaging and words once and for all? Okay, but let's talk about how much that unclear messaging is costing you, right? Like I told you, putting $4,000 into my business before going full-time was enough to put knots in my stomach. So the total value of this course is another big number. It's more than $2,000. Okay, but what does that mean for you? Like, how much is the unclear part costing your business? So if you have a website with copy that converts, I truly believe you can book at least one new client every month, right? So let's say that let's pull a round number, an anchor client for you every month is a $1,000 package. So if you multiply that by 12, the difference in better messaging could be the difference in you are making $50,000 a year, $2,000 a year. That kind of change could happen. But you can get started today with one payment of $134. It was really important for me to make this affordable. So all those trainings, templates, checklists, and cheat sheets are yours instantly for 3 payments of $134 or a one-time payment of $397. For those of you who want some more one-on-one access without the really high copywriting fees, for $497, I'll include a call and I'll edit your copy for you. How does it work? Just go to ashlynwrites.com/copy and enter your payment information in the secure system. And you'll get an email today with your members only access login, and you'll be able to dive into the content and workbook today within seconds. Should also mention you get lifetime access. Everything that I've described today will probably be updated at some time in the next few years, and you will always get access to that. And I get it. Like, what if it sucks? What if you hate it? I have a tight refund policy, but I want you to know that I do have your back. If you try it all and you show me your work and it proves not to have been profitable, I'll give you a refund. And the reason it's so tight is because I only want to attract go-getters who are really serious about results for this course. Again, this is valued more than $2,300, but you can hop in now for under $500 or even under $150. So I want to get to those Q&As that we have because I know that bottom line, I get it. Writing your own website and your blogs is such a challenge, but I want you to know that you can do it. I've had more than 30 students go through this course in the past week, and here are some of the things that they're saying. They've been able to take actionable change today. And I told you at the beginning that I believe you can market your business if you're not a writer, and let me tell you, out of all those people, they don't consider themselves writers. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this Q&A and talk a little bit about HoneyBook now. But if you're on the fence about this course or think that you might be interested in signing up before Friday, shoot me an email. I would love to talk to you and help you get off that fence.
Amazing. Thank you. Oh.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Ashlyn. Oh my gosh, I got so much information and like so much knowledge, a lot of things that were really easy to take away and implement really quickly. So I know we have like 6 more minutes left. I'm going to ask you 2 fairly short questions I got from the audience, and then I'll ask you 2 a little bit more involved questions. The marketing expert that you mentioned, do you mind just restating her name so people can follow her as well or like look more into it?
And can you see me now in my screen? Can you see?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. It's Amy Porterfield. She has like my absolute favorite podcast every week. Her website is so great. She gives away freebies like all the time. So if you're interested in becoming a better marketer for your business, that's one of my favorite resources.
Amazing. Amy Porterfield. And then also, do you have any recommendations for website hosts? There's somebody who is on WordPress and they're thinking about switching, but they want to know what your thoughts on that.
I switched. I jumped ship. Did anybody use like Xpage back in the day? I feel like our generation grew up making websites. I just found WordPress a little bulkier for what I was trying to do, and so I love Squarespace. Bluehost is a great host if you're just needing a hosting product, but Squarespace, it rolls it all into one. So that's my pick, but I'm not an affiliate or anything. I just like them.
Awesome. And then a little longer question that you referenced in the beginning by Alyssa Hunter. So I'm a family photographer and I'm working on my packages now. I'm wondering how to have a normal session, a 1-year package, a mini session, maternity, etc. Do you have any advice on how to make those into the big 3?
Yeah, without knowing like totally into your system, just as maybe this is a good thing. I'm an outsider. I feel like you need to have mini sessions. Like you need to have that lower price point and then the next level up. But know that typically people buy the middle tier because so that's another reason 3s work so well is you'll usually find people like they want to go towards what's in the middle. They feel like that's paying for their buck, but also they're making a wise investment. So I would, in your top tier, be very strategic about that. Maybe use the middle part to put the bulk of what your business is. Does that help, Alyssa? If you want to eat, I'm happy to answer that more. But I don't want to take up too much time on here too.
And then there's another question by Justine Marshek. She says, I do floral artistry and event styling. Would you recommend having just 3 tabs on my website instead of having home, about, journal, blog, hello? So having those 5. Would you just have floral artistry, event design, and then hello?
I think you can do as many tabs on your website or as many different pages as you want. Be strategic. Like, don't put 10 up at the top for people to click on. Like, I think 5 is a good number. 3 might seem a little less, but you can always have pages off pages off pages on your back ends, like little tunnels for people to go down and find content. So you don't have to link them all at the top, but I do think something like 5 is definitely not overwhelming for people to click on.
Got it. And then another question is by Candace Ward. Would you suggest a landing page before showing content? I'm a baker and have a landing page with photos of my cakes.
I would only use a landing page. Some people call them welcome mats or splash pages during times where you're trying to promote something. So maybe you have a class you're teaching in your area coming up, or a content upgrade that you have, a little booklet of 5 recipes people can get for free before, and that can be used to funnel and build your email list. Those are things that are worth creating a landing page. Otherwise, I think they kind of annoy people, and so I would encourage using it sporadically in your business, but not having it up all the time.
Perfect. That's awesome. That is excellent. And I guess, I know, Ashlyn, you've been using HoneyBook for a while. If there's any comments that you want to say, like what particularly you use in HoneyBook, feel free to tell us. We'd love to know.
Like HoneyBook changed everything, and I would try. I don't want to name competitors. I probably shouldn't. I tried them all, and then couldn't find what I needed, and so I went to a Loom retreat. Jenna Kutcher and Cash Moyer looked me in the eye, and they were like, "You've got to give it a more of a try. Like, really use HoneyBook. Like, use the templates. Figure out how to hack it to make it work for you." So I came home from a Loom. I implemented those. It's like I don't have to have a virtual assistant because I have HoneyBook, and that was the first business investment I made. It was terrifying. So I paid $4,000 Loom, and then I paid $400 to get HoneyBook, and it was so scary. But I made it back instant. It made everything easier. It shaved hours off my week. I didn't have to send contracts back and forth. I had to make contracts. And I have to make all these email templates. They were there and good to go. I don't want to I don't want to take up all this. I could talk about HoneyBook forever. It changed the game for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's so great to hear. I got so much from your webinar, and there are so many questions I know, and I wish we could have answered all of them. We did record this, and we'll be sending it out to everybody so that we can always go back and you can screenshot, and we can really go through all the information that you gave, which was so amazing. If anyone has questions about HoneyBook in particular, definitely head over to ashlynwrites.com/copy to learn more about adding into the course. And then you can always go to the site to get more info about HoneyBook. And if you have questions, where you just want to email someone about seeing a demo, Dane at honeybook.com is the person that you'll want to connect to. And as Ashlyn mentioned, we are doing $100 off for everybody who joins this webinar today. So definitely take advantage of that. And thank you guys so much for being here. I know it's probably time for you guys to head back, but we'll be back with more content. And thank you so much again.
Thanks, Leslie. This was fun.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.